Is there any party you could do a deal with?
Well, I think, again, that will depend on the people in the first instance. And I think commentators love, and I understand it, speculating about that, this and the other. I think from Fianna Fáil's perspective, coming out of the last general election, in terms of our change and renewing the party, it has to be about issues. And what I'm interested in is a new generation of politicians to come in and a new and fresher policy platform, which we will have and which we're developing with the front bench. But in addition to that, to be able to say to people, look, these are the issues we want implemented, whether in government or out of government. And if it means out of government, but we have an influence to get issues in education over the line. For example, I think guidance counsellors should be brought back. Yeah. Postgraduate grants should be brought back. I can't understand in the modern era how that happened. So those are kind of issues. For the first time in a long time, the Fianna Fáil will be coming to the public and to other interested and saying, look, we are first and foremost interested in getting issues like that over the line in terms of ensuring that health and education and the whole social development of the country is properly handled. Because what I'm picking up on the streets and on the ground is people are saying to me, look, we want a decent kind of society. We want to get our kids through school and through college. That's what they're saying. The medical card debacle last year was very interesting from that perspective, and I was raising it for 12 months. If I could just finish the point, and it's this. The vast majority of people didn't have discretionary medical cards, yet it was the biggest issue in the local election. So what people were saying is, look, we know things are tough, we know we're all facing difficulties, but for God's sake, can you make sure that children with life-limiting conditions are getting the medical card and people with terminal illnesses are getting medical cards? It struck a chord with me in the sense that people are saying we want a decent, fair society. That's the first priority, and that's what Fianna Fáil will be about.
But I mean, it sounds what you're talking about there is that if other parties were to meet us on certain policy issues, we could do a deal. So I mean, you see, you're ruling out Sinn Féin and Fine Gael, so we couldn't do a deal with them. But it's about the policies. So if they were to meet you on some of those issues, you could conceivably do a deal.
You can implement policies in many different ways, and I'm not. I mean, in terms of. I'm also very. I know you. Yeah, but you see, I'm not talking about that right now because I actually think it's too arrogant. I mean, I heard Enda Kenny last week in a sort of delusional sort of way saying it's either me or Jerry, and I just said he doesn't get it. This government will not be re-elected to you. Okay. That's it. I mean, they're very, very unpopular on the ground. The most common refrain I'm hearing, people are coming up to me saying, "Will you get them out?" Okay. Will you get them out? That's what they're saying. Now, I think that some people still are, to a certain extent, in the old trap of sort of predicting what's the norm in politics. I actually think after the next general election there'll be a lot of surprises, and there'll be a lot of soul searching after the election.
Maybe a surprise like a Fianna Fáil coalition? Or
no. I mean, you're in that old school of thinking. Right? It could be. I just think there'll be surprises electorally, is what I'm saying, and I think there'll be. I think you're going to see more shifts in politics. I think it's going to be a fragmented political landscape, and I think that will be challenges for everybody afterwards to deal with.
You're leaving open the door to Sinn Féin and Fine Gael, aren't you?
No. Did you pick that up there?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you're not ruling anything out, it seems, because you think that the structure or the way it will fall after the next.
No, but what I'm trying to say, I mean, everyone's assuming that Fine Gael are going to get a certain level of support. I'm not assuming that. Okay. That's my point. Mm-hmm. I think the electoral the electoral landscape will be different to what you think. Well, let's take the local elections. How many people predicted Fianna Fáil would have the most seats in local authority government before the local elections, or the most votes? And people, Sinn Féin were ahead of us in some polls apparently before the local elections. Yet we got 25%, they got 15%. So Eamon Gilmore, 6 months before the last general election, Labour were on 33%, and they came back to 19%. So I'm just sounding notes of caution in terms of predictions and sort of, and I understand why people do this, it's a natural, but I think we just need to be cautious in making the kind of predictions as to what actually will happen during the election.